Welcome to the 22nd round of WTSS Season 7. We're in the continent of Africa, in South Africa, for the return of WTSS in Africa. We're here for the Phakisa Freeway Speedway, a 1.5 mile racetrack designed to try and bring oval racing to all 7 continents on the planet. Straight out onto the racetrack is William Duncan, and now truly begins the quest for WTSS to become a World Touring Super Series once more, with every continent on the schedule bar South America now, and we begin a race weekend of lots of new things these drivers are going to have to figure out. This is one of the most unique mile and a halves on the planet, very reminiscent of an old Las Vegas Motor Speedway, with extremely open tri-oval front straightaway and a really low banked corners on both sides in turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. There are no more short tracks left on the calendar as we begin the overseas leg of the season after the Americas. And William Duncan is going to put down the first timed lap of many to start off this session. 33.015, and you'd almost have to imagine that a 32 is right imminent, and there it is, James Gibson to the top of the board. This is a track that is extremely high speed for how low the banking actually is around here, and is going to be one that these drivers are going to be aiming for the most. .280 for Shrimp Engrets in the 59 will certainly be something that they are going to be eyeing to beat. That is an incredible lap in comparison to the rest of them. And Jake Stevens in the 18 goes up to the top now, looking for his 4th pole of the season, which would be absolutely remarkable for the young rookie. Ryan Reed enters this race still the championship leader as Engrets goes back to the top with a 2:03 now under his belt. Ryan Reed still the championship leader, 35 points in the lead now, exiting Bristol after a really close call and multiple incidents that he was able to escape without major damage to salvage a top 15 finish. But now there are no more short tracks left on the calendar, which is his track type of preference. And now it's going to be an all-out brawl on big speedways and twisting, winding road courses to finish off the last 8 races of this calendar. 9 races. And as we head through 1 and 2 again, Engrets drops the time even lower to a 32.095. We may even see a 31-second lap by the end of the session. I almost would bet on it. Eugene DeMax has gone up to the second fastest time now with a 32.166. Brandon Cresta debuting a new partnership with DHL, which will span into the next season with a possible new driver joining that team's lineup next season as they switch to becoming even further into being the Dodge brand team in WTSS. Top of the board, Eugene DeMax in the 4, 32.041, looking for his best qualifying since Watkins Glen. And on the ovals of all things, which is not normally where the 4 car is seen at the front of the field. As you see up in that 4th position there, that is now the 8th position. Times are falling fast here. Chris Louviere in the 83 has had an impeccable record on the big speedways this season. And he is once again proving he still has the speed on these mile and a halves. As the times fall so fast, we have our first sub 32 of the session. Mark Nutt, the reigning champion, puts it to a 31.950, and Hu Jian immediately topples that time with a 31.903, and the times just keep falling as the track builds up speed and rubber. As we see Mitchell Carter up ahead there with new sponsorship from Durex this weekend as well. And look at the cars all over the racetrack trying to find time on this brand new track that none of them have ever driven around The times are going to keep falling as they get better around here with more experience. Hu Jian trying to get her first pole on a big speedway in nearly half a decade. Would be quite something if she could pull it off. DJ Curtis to the top of the board, 31.730, nearly 2/10 quicker than any other lap put on the board so far. And the 54 car puts down a heater with some drafting help from Ray Takeda in the 50 car. Nearly 4 minutes left in this session to go. Kyle Buschelli has jumped up into the 3rd position with teammate Patrick Smith in 5th. And with Alex Bignacco in the 11th spot right now, Audi looking pretty strong in this group qualifying session. But their main star on the big speedway is Daniel Giroux, the winner at Indianapolis, 15th at the moment. So all 4 within the top 15, but only 2 of them in the top 10. 3 make that Bignacco back into the top 10. Last raced in Bristol, Kyle Buschelli got yet another short track victory to his WTSS resume as we just watched him jump to 2nd fastest with a 31.881. Buschelli has only ever won on short tracks. He's contended for victories elsewhere, but the short tracks, he is an absolute force to be reckoned with, as we now have 7 drivers who have cracked the 31-second barrier, with Roberto Crown Jr. being the newest one. It's almost a requirement now to get to be top 10 if you to be able to only get top 10 if you have a sub 32-second lap time on your resume this session. Chris Louvier, the leading driver outside of that bubble, in 8th place. 3 minutes remain here in Phakisa Freeway. Championship dark horse contenders towards the back of the field. Championship contender Jeff McLennan, only 32nd at the moment. We know Maverick's Speedway program has been hit or miss this season, with Will Hoyt back in 36th as well. He's a dark horse contender to boot there. You can see guys like Mitchell Mark in 27th place. Ryan Reed, the championship leaders, in 22nd. I think all 4 Roush Racing Enterprise cars are outside of the top half of the field, which is remarkable. But I say that right as Yuki Tamura jumps up to 8th quickest in the 60 car. Oh, big send from Buschelli there to try and get some clean air on his nose ahead of Ray Takeda. And you see numerous names in the lower half of the field. Mitchell Mark improves to 23rd, but that's still not great. Championship leader Ryan Reed, though, being in 23rd. 24th is just absolutely ridiculous and would be, I think, one of his worst qualifyings, if not his worst qualifying of the season. We're in the final almost minute and a half now in this session. People have come in for fresh tires. Tire wear is going to matter around here. It's only about a 2-second fall off from the start of the run to the very end of the run, but it's still a fall off nonetheless.
I mean, that is still quite a large margin.
Yes, but that's due in part to the fact that this asphalt surface does not get used very regularly, does not have any asphalt buildup does not have any rubber buildup inside of it to protect these tires. Buschelli still 2nd quickest, unable to put into a dent on DJ Curtis's fastest time at the moment. And the driver that you could almost say should have won at Lime Rock Park is aiming for redemption here on the big oval in South Africa, as it looks like he's coming in to concede his qualifying. He does not think he can go any faster, and I would tend to agree with how high the tire wear is late in the run here. Will we see anybody find a late improvement in this session to jump up into the top 10 possibly? There are drivers out there on fresh tires that could contend for that, but they've got to really hone in and focus on what their goal is here. William Duncan is one of them. Alex Constantine another. Mitchell Mark has jumped up to 11th quickest. Championship contender, that's huge for him, and if he can keep improving, that might be a top 10 starting spot. If he can just get right into it, across the line, no improvement that time. time is expiring now. We begin standby. Anybody who has started a lap will get a chance to finish it, but past that point, there's nothing more you can do to jump yourself up the order. Does anybody find a time? In the late stages of this qualifying session, Van Dalen jumps up to 30th, but it's not enough to make any dent on the bigger picture. Vita Bassa found 17th, but not that last lap. Mitchell Mark has one final chance. And it's no improvement. From the 28, nobody out there finds a last-second improvement that puts them up into the top 10 at the very least. And as a result, DJ Curtis in the 54 car has put himself on the pole here at Phakisa Freeway for the inaugural running of the mile-and-a-half event here in South Africa. Curtis is on pole ahead of Kyle Bishelia. Hu Ji-yeon comes home in third in qualifying. Mark Nutt, Eugene Damax rounding out the top 5. Patrick Smith, Roberto Crown Jr., Yuki Tamura, Chris Louviere, and Elijah Innes the top 10.
To your cars.
Mark, Stevens, Binyako, Engritz, and Angel the top 15. A crucial qualifying for both Mark and Angel in their quests to chase down championship leader Ryan Reed. The rest of your running order is as follows. Notable names in the bottom half. Tristan Wilhoit is on the back row of the grid for the first time in as long as I can remember in the WTSS. His young teammate Jeff McLennan, who is a hopeful for the championship, finds himself in 35th. Ryan Reed is really going to be looking to make forward progress today, starting in the 26th position. And team boss Scott Roush really has to be wondering what went wrong on the setup on 3 of their 4 cars and 4 of the 5 in their campus, starting 26th or lower today. But with guys like Angel, Louviere, Tamura, Mark, they've all nailed it in qualifying when Ryan Reed faltered for the first time all season. DJ Curtis is on pole. Congratulations to the 54 team on starting first today. Let's get to the race.